All right. And we are live. Welcome to another episode of Pod Jobbers, baby. Brett Moore, say hello to the fans out there, my man.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
All right. Brett Moore and Jake Schwartz coming at you, trying to represent recently departed Felipe. We're going to definitely get some sort of art gimmicks in the background for him going forward. But this week, we'll start things off hot with a Swerve Bro. Swerve Bro. So, all right,
I'll never
man.
not think of Felipe when we say that.
Right? Yeah, we're gonna have to think of how we actually swerve-alicious style with doing his voice. But I can't get that out of my head. It's so catchy.
No.
It's a damn good
Nope.
gimmicks, son. So to start things off hot on February 20th, we're gonna go with a swerve to start. Brett, what's your swerve question for me, dude?
I figured since it's coming up at the end of the month, what's your favorite Elimination Chamber match?
Ooh, favorite Elimination Chamber match. For this upcoming Elimination Chamber match, not like all time, right?
No, like what's your all-time favorite Elimination
All-time
Chamber
favorite.
match?
I really like the one where Daniel Bryan almost lost to Santino Marella. I'm like a super mark for like the comedic silly wrestler getting pushed over, and it was just after he had almost won the Royal Rumble against Alberto Del Rio, and we're like, oh, he almost won, and then the Elimination Chamber, like, oh, he almost won, and then Daniel Bryan won it. I think that was the most excited I've been. But the other one where John Morrison was climbing up the chamber and did his Star 60, whatever it's called, off the top of the chamber was pretty cool. But yeah, how about you?
Mine's kind of my favorite one is the one at New Year's Revolution 2006, but it's not like the actual match, which was actually pretty good. But it was because that's the one where Edge cashed in his Money in the Bank after John Cena had just gotten the shit kicked out of him, and did the 3 spears and won his first championship. So it's not the Elimination Chamber match itself; it's what happened afterwards. If we're going to talk about a proper Elimination Chamber match, though, I like the first one. You know, it was one that Felipe and I talked about a couple times. I think we mentioned it each show, but that was the one where RVD crushed Triple H's throat and he couldn't breathe like the whole time, but he still won it. And Shawn Michaels was the one that ended up winning it, and he wrestled in cowboy boots and those like shit brown tights that he had on and that Dutch boy haircut. And he won it, and like nobody saw it coming. But as far as the actual match, it's that one. That's a pretty sweet match to start on.
Oh, that's brutal, dude. He crushed his windpipe. That's wild. What was the chamber match where was it Goldberg was like spearing people through the pods? I think he speared Jericho right through the pod. It was like a spearing spree. I think it was like 2004 or something. There was some pretty classic ones. I can't remember. I don't know.
That seems like an awful lot of work for Goldberg, though. An Elimination Chamber match.
Yeah, he pounds of sweat nowadays from that guy.
Oh
so yeah, he's definitely putting in the work. He's coming back to face Bray Wyatt, as we know. So we'll see how that turns out. Are you a Goldberg fan? I'm actually a pretty big Goldberg fan.
I am not a Goldberg
You're
fan.
not a Goldberg
It's
fan.
like I think I liked him like at first when the streak like first started, and it was cool, and everybody was a Goldberg fan, and it was just cool
Yeah.
to watch him, take 5 minutes to walk out to the ring for a 30-second match. But it got real old after a while, and then like you start to realize this guy can't really wrestle. He kind of sucks. He does like the same 4 moves. He killed Bret Hart's career. Not that, I'm a huge Bret Hart fan, but he killed Bret Hart's career because he can't wrestle. He almost killed The Undertaker last year.
He almost killed himself against The Undertaker last year.
Well, yeah, but, so I'm not really. I appreciate the attraction of Goldberg, and I appreciate how much he was over. But as Goldberg as a wrestler, he's not for me.
That's fair. Yeah, I hear a lot of people saying that nowadays. I was a super fan of Goldberg and Gilbert, but I actually went once to go get Goldberg's autograph in South Florida's Walmart in the garden section. And waited out in a hot sun with my dad and my brother, and that pinball head didn't even last more than an hour. So after an hour, like half the line got to see him, and the rest had to like go home without a Goldberg autograph. Man,
Bummer.
yeah, kind of sucked. All right, my turn to swerve you, dude. So this past week on AEW Dynamite, they opened up with a tag team battle royale match, which was pretty epic. So my question to you is, in the spirit of Elimination Chamber in this crazy battle royale match, what would be your fantasy style match to book in wrestling?
Is this like something I'm just making up right here?
Either you're making up or it's something that's been done a while ago that you'd love to see brought back.
Um, Man, they pretty much do everything. I mean, up to a couple years ago, I would have said War Games, because like that was the War Games matches were like the real old NWA Crockett stuff. That was the first stuff from them I ever watched. Was those old War Games matches because everyone said they were brutal and everything. So I went back and watched them, and they were awesome. And NXT's done a really good job keeping that reputation alive as far as the awesome War Games matches. But they're doing it now. If that doesn't count, man, I don't know. I'd like to see a good hair for hair match.
Hair
You
for
know,
hair match, like you
yeah,
shave your
a
hair
hair
if you lose.
match. Yeah, it can't be the last hair for hair match can't have been Donald Trump versus Vince McMahon by proxy. It can't be like that. And man, I think you got to go like
Who's got
do
like the golden locks of hair that could not like afford to even attempt a hair for hair match?
my first thought is Dolph Ziggler
Yeah.
because I love watching Dolph Ziggler wrestle, but I can't imagine him without the hair. Maybe like him and Elias, but they're both heels. That would be pretty cool.
That would
And
be
then Elias would
cool.
have to wrestle though,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Well, maybe he like opens with a song about Dolph Ziggler's hair, and then quickly sweet chin and a zigzag, and it's over. And Elias shaves his head. Maybe he doesn't have to wrestle. Oh
Yeah,
man.
but I want to see Dolph sell though.
Yeah. Oh, he's the greatest seller in the business, man. Jacob Anthony Moses,
100%.
my brother from another mother, like no other, calling out SummerSlam '03 was the Elimination Chamber match. So thank you, Jacob, for calling that out. And Alexander Alcantara, what a name! That should be a wrestling name. Starship Pain is John Morrison's move. So thank you, sir. Appreciate the feedback
Mm-hmm.
there. My fantasy matchup, I would bring back. I don't know if it was called War Games, but it was like the triple Hell in a Cell dealio that WCW did. They had like
Okay.
3 cages stacked on top of each other,
Mm-hmm.
and they hung the belt at the top. They also had it in that movie with what's
the
his
one with David
name?
Arquette.
David Arquette, and DDP was like the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that match. I'm a big Hell in a Cell guy, so I could see David Arquette back in that cage, and I'd be excited. But I think that'd be super cool.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Brett's not a fan. Doesn't want to see David Arquette. Have you seen him recently? He like got ripped and started wrestling, and then like took some crazy spot and like bled all over the place.
Mm-hmm. I did see that because I saw him and I saw Ethan Suplee, the guy that played Willem in Mallrats, the guy looking at the picture. Dude, that guy lost a ton of weight and got jacked, and I saw those two pictures like on the same day. I think the same person sent them to me.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Arquette. Who would have thought, man? Look at that. Well, all right, moving right along to our next segment here. We're going to take the C Nation for a ride. John Cena has been teasing. It's been rumored. It's WrestleMania season. Brett, he comes back. What do you have for him? What do you think he's going to be booked to do, or what would you like him to be booked doing?
So I'll go with the first one first, like my fantasy booking of it, what I would love to see in a perfect world. And that has to do with John, because I think John Cena's going to do a heel turn. I have this idea because when he showed up at WrestleMania last year, a Red Sox fan in a Yankees jersey, by the way, when he showed up at WrestleMania last year, he said something about a heel turn in that rap, and then we haven't really seen him since. So I'm thinking you get a Cena heel turn, and then he teams up with Randy Orton as like a heel tag team kind of thing. And at WrestleMania, they have a match with Edge and Christian with Captain Charisma, his triumphant return at WrestleMania. That's my fantasy booking of it.
That's a solid booking, dude. That's hard to compete with. A heel Cena, what the people want to see. I remember that. Yeah, last year he came out with the Yankees jersey on, and he's like talking about going heel, and he went back to was last year when he went back to the rapping gimmick, right?
Yeah,
his like
Dr. Thugonomics.
Dr. Thugonomics, yeah. So I could totally see him coming back as heel. What does he have to lose? He's not on the hook for selling merch, right? So I mean, get him out there, get him heelicious, and serve him up. I like that. I would love to see John Cena and Randy Orton tag again, or even face off against one another. I really liked their trilogy fights that they had back in like 2000. Was it 8 or 7, where Randy Orton was heel Orton with the shaved head, and he was punting people's heads off, and he was beating John Cena's dad up. And then they booked him in this Monday Night Raw match where it was Cena and Orton versus like the entire WWE roster. Do you remember that?
I think I was lapsed at that time. I remember hearing it. I have trouble with that word. I don't know, man.
Lapsed fan.
But I remember hearing about it, but I didn't see it.
Lapsed. Felipe loves the Lapsed Fan podcast. So in that match, they were in a obviously like booked against each other for the storyline, but they were forced to tag together, and they like beat everybody. And there was a part in the match where Cena got him in the AA or the FU, whatever it's called nowadays, and flipped. Who was it? I think it might have been Cody Rhodes actually. Flipped him, and Randy Orton caught him in an RKO off of that, and it was like,
oh, nice.
Yeah, it was super sweet.
Nice.
So I would definitely book Cena in a heel fashion too, but instead I would have him interrupt the Randy Orton Edge match and go heel on Edge, because back in the day they had some pretty intense ladder matches for the title.
Yes, they did.
And so I could see that kind of like a retribution angle.
Yes, they did. That's
call
back to earlier in the episode. That's who Edge beat for his first championship after the New Year's Revolution Elimination Chamber match.
And he cashed it in, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
That's right. That's right. All right. So real quickly, how do you think he's actually going to be booked?
I think he's going to face, excuse me, either The Fiend or Goldberg, whoever wins that match in the Saudi Arabia Blood Money pay-per-view, and then wins title number 17 at WrestleMania.
Really?
Yeah. Why not?
Wow.
Why not?
Yeah. Why not? Right? Get him 17. That's interesting. Yeah, I think they're gonna. I was thinking they would actually keep the belt on Wyatt and have him drop it to Roman Reigns at Mania, but that's not a bad thought. I could see Cena doing that. I could also see them just booking Cena as like a segment where he just comes out and does something gimmicky and then beats up, squashes someone stupid. That's like a mid Carter. That's what I'm worried about them doing because I could see them doing that.
He deserves better.
He does. Yeah, number 17. Get it off of Ric Flair's record, right?
I mean, if you're going to do it and it's not going to be Steve Austin or The Rock, it should be John Cena.
It should be. I agree. That's a good call. All
Yeah.
right. We'll move on to our next segment here. Brett, you're the NXT dude, man. Let's hear how Takeover Portland went this weekend.
So Takeover Portland is pretty awesome. In the thread, it was a very lively thread. It seemed pretty unanimous that it was a very awesome pay-per-view, very awesome show. From start to finish, it started with that Keith Lee and Dijakovic match, which was awesome. That was I can't remember the last time I saw a better opening match on a pay-per-view before. It was awesome. And then you had that street fight with Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai, which was up to the end. It was the best street fight, one of the best street fights I've ever seen. Like as good as like the Mick Foley and Triple H street fight match that they had at. Somebody tell me what pay-per-view it is. I can't remember, and I just watched it. I think it was a Royal Rumble, maybe. Anyway,
yeah, I think it was.
Triple H, yeah, 2005 maybe. But anyway, as good as that one, and then the ending sucked because they decided to debut somebody that nobody ever heard of, and Beth Phoenix and Morrow and Rachel really tried to put her over, like, oh my God, Raquel Gonzalez, I think is what it was. And I think everyone was like, I don't know who that is. So that was really good, and it was just a great show all the way around. It ended in an awesome Tommaso Ciampa and Adam Cole match with Johnny Gargano turning heel at the end. Johnny Gargano and Finn Balor had a great match. They were all good matches, all really good matches.
So if Gargano is heel, is what's his name? Thomas
Ciampa?
Yeah. Is he still heel or is he turning face?
Well, he went into the match with Adam Cole as a babyface because Undisputed Era is a heel faction, so he was the babyface, and then so I imagine he's gonna stay babyface, and I didn't see it coming. I can't imagine Johnny Gargano as a heel. So
yeah.
that's difficult to imagine. But I mean, they put on all those great matches before. I got in an argument with somebody about Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano's career, and somebody said that Gargano's 2008 was better than Finn Balor's entire career. You were right. Whoever you are, I can't remember who it was. So
definitely Balor's entire career in the WWE. That's when he got called up. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it was nobody saw it. Gargano's going to be heel. Should be some good stuff, man. Couple barn burners out of it.
He's fantastic. Him and he's had some classic matches. So that's pretty cool. So they're telling us if it's Cactus Jack, Royal Rumble 2000 was the street fight. If that's what you're referring to. Okay, cool. And shout out to my wife. Just said, hey friends. So hey to my wife out there, Jess. So Takeover. So there's been a lot of NXT takeovers, Brett. They're raved about. They're like mini WrestleManias. where would you rank this one? Where would you rank it compared to the past ones?
I haven't seen all of them, but it'd be in the top 3 of the
Top three.
ones that I've seen. The second takeover Brooklyn with that Sasha Banks and Bailey Iron Man match, that one was pretty good. And there's been a couple of other really good ones too, but probably top 3, definitely top 5.
That's awesome. And Keith Lee, like, what's his story? Is he came up for the Royal Rumble, then I guess he's not officially up in WWE yet. Is he supposed to be the future of kind of big man wrestling?
I hope. That dude is awesome. Keith Lee, I mean, he's incredible. He's limitless, as he says. You know, great athlete. He looks like he could be a babyface. He looks like he'd be a great heel. So bring him on.
I hope I
Whenever
hope
he's up
they
there.
I hope they book him right though. I don't what I'm afraid of is that he turns into like a moose. I don't know if you know who Moose is, but he's been on Impact Wrestling and man, he has
Mhm.
not gotten over to the extent of his potential. And so I hope they don't like bring Keith Lee up and give him the Braun Strowman treatment. Um, but
Well,
here's hoping.
well, I think part of the reason why sometimes those NXT talents didn't translate so well into the main roster was before you basically had to have the network to watch NXT, and now they have it on mainstream television, so a lot more people are seeing these people. And I think, once they make that jump, I think you're going to see NXT stars get over better than what they used to. Speaking of Finn Balor from before.
Yeah, yeah. And as your buddy Matty Buendia calling us out on here, but also saying that that Triple H loves Keith Lee, and I think that's a good point because
Mhm.
NXT itself. I mean, from what I've seen, and I haven't watched nearly as much as you, but from what I've seen, Triple H is a huge proponent of that, and he's really built it into not only like a minor league system of wrestling, but it's another show now. It's not even like
Mhm.
a minor league; it's another WWE show, and he's really pushing these guys forward. So, what does Triple H need to do to get these wrestlers over when they get called up to the main roster? I mean, does he have impact there? Is he kind of just in control of the women's division in NXT?
Well, I can. From my understanding of it, is NXT is his baby. He does everything for it. Head of creative and whatnot. But if as far as getting these guys to Raw or SmackDown, I don't know if it's necessary anymore because they have their own national television show now. People are coming back, or people are coming to NXT. Charlotte Flair was at NXT. Finn Balor came back. People have come back. So maybe I don't know if that's going to be more of a focus going forward, And but I mean, if somebody were to get called up to Raw or SmackDown, and if Triple H wants to help, I mean, he has to do is have Vince give him one opportunity. That guy shows up and does the job, and I think after that, I think he'll be good.
Nice. And last thing we'll call out, we got some people asking us to talk about Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair.
Oh yeah.
I can't stand. I don't know if it's just me, but I cannot stand Charlotte Flair. I think
Yes.
she's really good. She's really good, but like they're really just shoving down the Ric Flair gimmick and his daughter, and like Charlotte Flair heel, awesome. Charlotte Flair face, not so great. I just really like to see her go heel and try to shy away from the Ric Flair side of things. But what do you think of that storyline? Sounds like it's getting some good pushes.
Oh yeah, I it's a match I'm looking forward to at WrestleMania. So I like Rhea Ripley. I've said that every episode. I think leading up to this, I'm a big Charlotte Flair fan as well. As far as the point of the working the Flair thing into it, how can you not? I mean, it's
Yeah,
Ric Flair's daughter. And if she sucked and they were like the only interesting thing about her was the fact that she was Ric Flair's daughter, I think you'd have a point. But the fact that she's really good, and she's Ric Flair's daughter, who was also one of the best to ever do it, I think it's a good reason to use the reference a lot. So
Do you think they used it because they felt they had to get her over?
Well, my understanding was, I've listened to a couple interviews she's done on a few podcasts. The one that's popping to mind is the one she did on the Edge and Christian podcast, where she said when she first started with NXT, they wouldn't let her do the chops, they wouldn't let her do the woos, they wouldn't let her do the figure four. Like they were trying to keep, Ric Flair here, Charlotte Flair here, and it just kind of got to a point where it's like, my guess, I don't remember exactly what she said, but the way that I kind of read it was they wanted to make sure that she was like worthy to do the Ric Flair stuff. Like she wasn't gonna suck and have to resort to doing all the Ric Flair stuff.
All right, fair enough. Well, speaking of individuals whose family members and parents have been in WWE before or wrestling before.
Nice segue.
Thank you, sir. This guy is starting to hear a lot more hellacious voices in his head. Randy Orton has been going on a rampage recently, dude. He has not been kind to your boyo. And lately, he beat the ever-living hell out of Matt Hardy. What's going on here? Is the Legend Killer back, or is this a temporary thing? What do you think's going on?
I don't know, but I like it. Orton's one of those guys. I mean, he's a good heel. He's completely believable as a heel. He kind of looks like a prick. Everybody knows the stories from when he first started and all that. And I just think that, I think Legend Killer could probably be back. And if you're going to bring him back, you bring it back to kill a legend. And that legend is Adam Copeland of Toronto, Canada, aka Edge. So
nice. Break the fourth wall, CM Punk style, buddy.
You mean Phil? But if you're gonna bring the Legend Killer gimmick back, you kill a legend. So, and I think Edge would be super happy to put Orton over at WrestleMania. They've always been friends and everything. So, yeah, why not do it? And Matt Hardy, I guess, would certainly qualify in that legend bracket, somewhere. So, yeah, let's see it.
There's a lot of time left between now and Mania, so I'm just curious, like who they start throwing at him to continue to just destroy, to build up. I think recently WWE has done a really good job of building up momentum for their superstars. I think they're really bad at their mid-carders in the squash matches, like we've been seeing a lot recently with random wrestlers like Eric Rowan having squash match after squash match after squash match, and the guy that, oh my God, who I can't even think of his name. Dude that rises up like he's
Aleister Black.
Yeah, Aleister Black. Until they gave him Eric Rowan this past week, he had been like fighting unlimited jobbers, and you're like, what are you doing? He's fighting Murphy, and those matches were quality, and then all of a sudden they just put him on jobbers. Anyways, they do really poorly with their mid-carders, but I think when they like want to really sell their superstar, like with Randy Orton, they're booking it really well. They're really making the fans hate him. They're putting fear into people that probably don't know him as much about him facing Edge again. There's that injury looming in the distance if he's able to get his hands on Edge. They had him go out on a stretcher, which is a great booking. So, I'm really curious to see what they do going forward with Randy Orton and who he's going to tear apart next.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So, all right. So, speaking of Randy Orton, we put out a post recently on the Wrestling Life group that we do this podcast for. And the post was to talk about Twitter. So, over the past few years, a lot of wrestlers have taken the fourth wall opportunity and brought it into social media. And they are not only staying in character, they're breaking character, they're calling each other out, personal stuff's getting thrown out there. And in a recent tweet, Randy Orton posted a picture of the Broserweights after they won their tag championships at TakeOver and wrote, "Hated you. Now I get it. Good luck. Also, fuck off." And it's a picture of Matt Riddle. He writes, "Bros, Stallions, Broserweights, Champions." What do you like this stuff? Do you like these tweets? Do you like how the wrestlers are kind of going on their own there? I mean, Randy Orton has been an underrated Twitter fiend. What do you think?
Oh, hell yeah! I mean, he's I follow a bunch of wrestlers on Instagram. I'm not super active on Twitter, but I am following a lot of them. And Randy Orton's been consistently one of my favorites. There was one post on Instagram. I can't remember who it was. I think Big E might have posted a picture, and Randy Orton commented, "Nice tits, bro." And I popped, man. It was hilarious. I think I screenshot it and shared it in the group and everything. But he's consistently one of the best. He's funny.
Yeah.
That's where that video of him RKOing his kid into the pool.
Oh my God.
Which was ice cold. That came from his Twitter. So he's definitely an underrated social media follow.
Talk about like things going viral, man. Those videos of him just RKOing random things are just classic. Absolutely classic.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he RKO'd his kid into the pool. That was hilarious. It's like another Christmas Day one where like his wife was like bringing Christmas presents and he RKOs her out of nowhere. It's just, he's classic. But yeah,
he's the Viper.
He's the Viper, man. Those voices tell him to do crazy things. Speaking of which, so under the tweet, he tweeted, "Sometimes you shouldn't listen to the voices in your head, Matt. They can lead you astray." And that was one day after beating the crap out of him.
That dude is cold-blooded, man.
He's cold-blooded. Ice cold. Ice cold. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. That's too funny. Too funny. All right. So we're going to be moving right along here to our segments. So we've talked about a lot of gimmicks on this show, also in wrestling life. Someone brought up The Miz. Love The Miz's gimmick. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Brett. What's your current best and worst gimmick that's out there today?
My best gimmick is MJF. It's a heel gimmick. That's what this business is really missing, are good asshole heels, and MJF certainly fits that bill. So just that whole gimmick, I'm better than you. This whole thing with Cody Rhodes has been fantastic to watch. It's the one thing that I am always sure I check out on AEW is what happened with MJF and Cody Rhodes. So I'm going to go with MJF. And
it might be the best storyline like that's out there, period, right now is just Cody Rhodes going through, Dante's 7 layers of hell to get to MJF and actually wrestle him. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And that match he had, that cage match he had with Wardlow last night, I caught some of that.
Dude, they let him bleed. They let him bleed on TNT.
On TNT. They fired his dad for doing that shit.
Yep. What's that, huh? That was legit blood. And he did the freaking, was it a moonsault at the top of the cage?
Oh, yeah. And that was a high-ass cage, man.
Not your normal steel. Not your normal, 6-foot steel cage WWE puts up.
And right. That was legit.
Yeah. That was legit.
Yeah.
All right. So worst gimmick. Who's the worst?
The worst gimmick by far, without question, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know what his gimmick is. He's the king, but before that he was wrestling in street clothes, and before that no one liked him, which is like now what you doing, Baron? What you doing?
They're recycling his music too. The Lone Wolf thing, and then He's coming out putting dog food in people's mouths, and he's got henchmen sometimes. Sometimes he doesn't have henchmen. He likes the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know what's going on with him. He's terrible. Go ahead.
He's completely unbelievable. I don't buy it. I don't buy that he's actually an asshole. I think he's a real nice guy. But he's just trying to be an asshole. And I'm just not buying it, And he's another big guy. I like small guy wrestlers anyway, but I will give him credit. That Falls Count Anywhere match at the Royal Rumble with Roman Reigns is pretty tight. But
that's what bothers me. Like, so he's got potential because he can talk on the mic. Like, he can do that, and he can wrestle. But nowadays, WWE does allow for some creative freedom. So I have no idea how much creative freedom he has versus what they're actually booking as. But whatever's going down is it's atrocious. I mean, it's boring. It's, speaking of Cliff blowing up our feed here with boring, Baron Corbin is boring. He puts the boring in boring. So it's pretty wild that he's even a superstar gimmick that's out there right now, and it's not even close. It's terrible. And he's taking loss after loss after loss. King of the Ring, by the way, they should just get rid of that.
Doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. It's not what it used to be. You don't have the classic Stone Cold promos. You don't have someone winning that then going on to fight for the title. It's absolutely purely just a stupid gimmick that they throw out there when they need something to revitalize. And he won, and you're like, all right, they're going to do this king thing. They're going to make him look like a king, and that's going to be his shtick, and then maybe he's going to get a top match. No, we'll just bury him with Roman Reigns and have him cut lame promos.
Yeah.
Open a can of whoop ass. Open a can of dog food. Dog food. Are you kidding me? Oh,
yeah.
Terrible.
Like if he came out and just beat the absolute shit out of Roman Reigns, yeah, awesome. Do that.
He'd be super.
And then you get sympathy for Roman Reigns too, because like, who's this, boring ass jabroni coming out here kicking the shit out of Roman Reigns?
Jabroni, perfect word.
There you go.
Perfect word. He is a jabroni.
Super jabroni. Super jabroni.
I agree, Jacob Anthony Moses, my boy, coming through the clutch and saying King of the Ring is trash. Absolutely, it's trash. Put it in a trash can. Put Corbin in a trash can. Maybe he'll open a trash can of dog food and dog crap on someone. All right, so I'm going to say that the best gimmick out there right now, or my favorite gimmick at least, because I'm going to agree on the worst gimmick, it's Baron Corbin, is Orange Cassidy in AEW. Orange Cassidy, squeeze the juice, man. He is amazing, and it is super over. Like, I yearn, like George Kramer said to George, do you ever yearn? I yearn for when Orange Cassidy is going to show up on AEW and put his hands in the air, down into his pockets, and slowly give a knife-edge chop across or barely kick someone and then turn it up. It's so over, and they're using it sparingly, so it's not like too much in your face. It's so good, and they're doing it right. I love this gimmick. I can't get enough of it. I hope he somehow becomes champion. He's in that stable of the best friends. That's hilarious. So.
So it's no secret I'm a big Jim Cornette fan, Cult of Cornette member, and all that stuff. And he hates Orange Cassidy, and I love Orange Cassidy. I think he is incredibly entertaining. The first time I saw him when he was in that battle royal at All In, and he did those like kicks to Tommy Dreamer, and Tommy's just looking at him like, what the hell's going on here? I agree with you, man. He plays that gimmick so well, and he never breaks the gimmick, know, and I like Orange Cassidy. I wish I didn't, because I shouldn't, because it is stupid, and it's a joke, and it's making a mockery of wrestling. It's all of those things, but god damn it, is it entertaining.
It's entertaining. You're right.
I like when he does the fake super kicks and he still slaps his legs. Oh my god, that kills me. That pops your boy every single time it
Oh, it
happens.
pops your boy every time. It's so good.
Every time.
And you gotta
And
give
it
credit.
shouldn't.
And it shouldn't. It shouldn't, right? It's terrible. You think it's something that would have been done for like a week, and they're like, all right, that was funny. Now just wrestle people, right? But no, it's stuck. The shtick is stuck. And and you got to give credit to the wrestlers that he's with, because for a gimmick like that to sell, you need the other people to help you sell it, and like their reactions to it are priceless, and it's what makes it great. When you watch him next time, watch the crowd in the background. The crowd literally stands up when he gets in. They go nuts. They go
They go
nuts.
banana.
Yeah. It's so awesome. It's like the yes movement. It's like that good. And I hope they find a way to keep it, marginalized and not use that often, and something that like you want to see, and you finally get to see it. It's great. And they tease a little bit, and maybe he'll become champion. But to their credit, he does build momentum and he does get going. So it's not like he just does that. He does get going. He does wrestle, and he's actually incredibly talented for a wrestler. So to keep your hands in your pockets and do some of those aerial stunts he does is remarkable.
For sure.
All right, so we got a new segment that we're going to roll out that we're going to do weekly. We're big Seinfeld fans. In the spirit of Seinfeld, this new segment is going to be called What's the Deal? And every week we'll call out something that, we want to know what's going on and what's the deal. And this week, what's the deal with Braun Strowman? He says he wants these hands. Should we give him our hands? And so, Brett, what do you think is Braun Strowman has been doing a lot. He's now got the Intercontinental belt. I'm not too crazy about Braun Strowman. I know a lot of people are. How do you feel about him? Do you think this is the right path for him?
He's as previously stated, I'm not a big fan of like big guy wrestlers.
Yeah.
He seems to be the exception though. I like watching Braun
Okay.
Strowman matches. When they did the intergender tag team tournament thing on Facebook Live, I love the pairing with him and Alexa Bliss. I love Alexa Bliss, Ohio whoop whoop. And he was super entertaining with her. I think he can be entertaining. And the whole monster thing's cool. I could do without watching him run around the ring 2 or 3 times every match, but
Yeah.
It's always been a match. And that moment in that match he had with Brock Lesnar where he kneed Brock in the head and Brock like punched him right in the side of the face. He took that punch like a champ, dude. So
Yeah.
that tells you a lot about the guy.
Yeah, that I did enjoy that match where like it was pretty much a given that Strowman was going to go over on Lesnar, and he still lost. There was it was brutal beatings. It was a good, solid all-around match. It was, a lot of people were pissed off Strowman didn't go over. But I don't know. When you have a monster and you also want them to be good on the mic, which they've tried to do a lot with Braun, I just don't think it doesn't translate. Like I think he would remain over with a lot of the fan base if he just kept to being a strong, like Big Daddy Diesel, Big Show, Kane, like monster like guy that doesn't speak that much, and the speaking he does is with his action. That there you go. They also got to slap a different finisher on him because the running power slam just isn't.
It's boring.
Yeah, it's a setup move. It's not a finisher. Get out of here with that crap.
If you're not going to let him talk, you got to give the guy a manager. And Eli Drake, maybe? He's not doing anything.
Eli Drake. Please let him come out and call a bunch of people dummies. Yeah. For not believing in Braun Strowman. I like that. That's a good pairing.
Because Strowman's got to be a heel. He's got to be a heel.
Agreed.
Or even if you wanted to make Alexa Bliss his manager, like put them in like a faction with Nikki Cross and all that stuff. I mean, that's an idea too. But I mean, if you're not going to let the guy talk, you got to give somebody the mic that can talk. And Alexa Bliss can talk.
Dude, you are like becoming the wizard behind the curtain. I like these ideas. Alexa Bliss.
Sign me, Vince.
Yeah, sign him. Sign your boy to a contract. Tell him. There it is. There it is. Alexa Bliss is a manager. I do like her in-ring ability, but she's get injured too much. And I think she doesn't work as a face. So a heel manager, that's a good pairing with Braun. Has Braun been a heel since his Wyatt family days?
I think he's been one of those like tweeners. He's never really been like people like him, but
Yeah.
he doesn't big guys like that can't be a heel. I mean, they can, but it's really, really hard to do. You got to be like Undertaker or Big Show or Kane quality performers, and who's three better big guys than those three.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, it just that guy with the way he looks and his skill and his moveset and everything, he's got to be a heel. And even if Alexa Bliss can still wrestle, but still be the mouthpiece, and it would have to be a faction situation, obviously. But you have that, even if she got like another big dude, Baron Corbin. This just came to me. So you get Baron Corbin and Braun Strowman in a faction led by Alexa Bliss. They are her bodyguards. She's the mouthpiece. Everybody's over. God damn it, give me a job, Vince. Holla at your boy.
So WWE's ratings just went through the roof. Goodbye AEW. Hello faction, bodyguard faction. Oh my gosh, Baron Corbin as a bodyguard with Braun Strowman as a bodyguard. I want to see that work.
In a heel faction with Alexa Bliss.
I just hate Baron Corbin so
I know.
much. God,
that's the only bad thing about that.
So bad. But I do like Braun Strowman, Alexa Bliss. I do love factions. I think they have a lot of mini factions, these like trio factions. They need like a solid like Nexus, NWO, DX type faction. And we didn't really bring this up at all, but the Messiah gimmick with Seth Rollins and AOP and Buddy Murphy, that is just begging to be like, make it a faction with branding and put shirts on all of them and call it something. Like you're so close. That's it. And I don't know why they won't do it. It's Seth Rollins and that's it. It
already worked once with the Straight Edge Society.
Oh yeah.
So we know it works.
It does.
Why not do it?
I don't know. I mean, they're trying in AEW. They have like the Dark Order, which is supposed to be this like cult-like faction. Although the mask thing's a little it's not really working too well. What they should have done is they should have had the Dark Order start and have Jericho be the cult leader and then have him recruit people week over week. And they don't need masks, but they just, they have the branding. They could have stolen the NWO stuff back in the 90s. But like they have stuff like that could be good, but they have this stupid mask thing. Here, take a mask to these rando wrestlers and see what happens. But I don't know. AEW is at least trying. They have the Inner Circle over there. They have branding. They have a few members. WWE they're putting these trios together. They're gonna need a trio championship at some point with all these trifectas instead of implementing the Freebird rule all the time.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna have a faction, there's a formula to it. You got to have the world champion. You got to have the secondary champion. You got to have the tag team.
Oh yeah,
it's the four horsemen. And nowadays, the cool thing about nowadays is you can have, either a world champion or a women's champion, and then the secondary champion, and then the tag team.
Ooh, that's interesting.
So like with this mixed gender kind of stuff they do, that's what I love about this stuff is it opens up so many possibilities with storylines and angles and stuff like that when you can use the women like that.
Oh man, it could be. I've always thought they missed the buck on like making the where do our time, you're not giving it to us, so we're gonna take it faction, like the Dolph Zigglers, the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn's, the Bobby Roodes, the Cesaros, Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks. Like they could make something work with these like people that have been contenders in the past and kind of fall off the map, come back sometimes. If they make that like kind of adding to your faction there, they get another solid women's wrestler that has some good heel power. Like when Sasha Banks turned, oh man, they could have rode that, and they didn't. You know, made her this like brutal heel that just beats up everyone, turn her hair color different. Bayley's been pretty good as a heel, but if you just you have a couple of women wrestlers that are heelish, you have to have a heel faction. It doesn't really work. Face factions don't work as well, unless you're like the New Day. But yeah, I think you do that and you have a solid formula. But bringing it back to our buddy Braun Strowman, he's got to get a new slogan. I don't like the "get these hands" thing. What is that?
He's gonna give you the hands. He's gonna do what Brock Lesnar did to him and punch him in the side of the face, real hard.
Is there a prize if someone actually gets his hands? Like, is that what the goal is there? Like, it gets a prize?
I like to think Alexa Bliss got those hands.
Oh, one could only be so lucky.
Because I like them both. They'd make a great couple.
It's a true size difference between the two of them. So that'd be an interesting connection. She'd need a ladder to kiss him. All right, so we talked a little bit about AEW. We're going to close today's discussion with some kudos given to our boy Cody Rhodes. Is he the best thing in AEW right now? Brett, you there? Have some technical difficulties. All right, so we had some technical difficulties. I think Brett didn't really like that question there, and that's probably why he logged off. But we're going to go ahead and see if we can end this cast since we're near time here. I do like Cody Rhodes. I'm liking AEW. I think they have a really good product going. A lot of super talented people starting every show off with a really intense match. They have a lot of awesome talent from the men to the women's divisions. And Cody Rhodes has just been cutting incredible promos since he's been there. He's been carrying the business. He's like a Triple H, but even better recently. And he's taking some serious bumps in this MJF storyline to fight his former best friend. He's just doing a real solid job. Really impressed with Cody Rhodes. I hope they put the belt on him eventually. We'll see what happens. But thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate your time here. And Pod Jobbers, next week we'll get some other guests to join us too. Brett Moore, thank you so much. You were awesome today, dude. He is a creative genius, unbelievable genius. And we're going to have to, maybe we'll get a segment for him each week on how he would book something. Because, man, that guy, he's got some great ideas. Well, if you smell what the pot is cooking, your jabronis are signing off. Thanks, guys.